Yeah.
And I think
And then bit by bit, I built on it, you know.
going back to the Beatles, Peter, I think John Lennon wrote the song "Why You're in Santa Barbara instead of in a castle in England," and why so many musicians live elsewhere. And that song would be "I'm the Tax Man."
Well, you know, yeah. I think that was a George song, actually. John wrote
Oh,
for No One, which was actually for me.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the studios and I said, wow, the Beatles have written a song. Look, it says for Noone, but it was actually for no one. I love that. I love that accent. Who's that guy? Who's the guy with the accent who says like John Lennon?
That was me.
That's Downtown Joe.
That's me, Peter. And actually, I'm from originally from Mississippi, but I lived here 40 years. I just can't shake the accent.
I can't shake mine as well. I've lived in America on and off. You know, I go backwards and forwards, and when I'm in England, people, my family say, oh, you've got an American accent
You've got
now.
that American in you. I have a question for you, Peter. You have a beautiful daughter, Natalie, who has music out. We are going to play a little bit of her music.
Oh, my goodness. She'll be so thrilled.
Did you ever have a guy sheepishly go, Mr. Noone, you've got a lovely daughter, and try to take her out? And did you ever experience that song?
Well, nobody's tried that. That would be really sheepish, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever tried that. But, you know, when they show up, I say, what do you want?
What do you
I
want?
used to say,
Yeah, you
"What do
become
want?"
Mormon.
I've carried on my family tradition. The poor guys used to come around to my house looking for my big sister, and my dad go, yeah, what do you want?
Give him the evil
So I do
eye.
that. You know, when she was born in the hospital, there were like 3 Filipino nurses there, and they came in and sang, Mrs. Noone, you've got a lovely daughter, which was pretty funny, you know.
Oh, so you
But
did
it
have that
actually
experience.
happened.
That's beautiful. Let's hear a little bit of Natalie, and then we have another surprise for you, Peter Noone. We have a surprise guest on the phone. But first, here is his daughter, Natalie. Pedro, is this recent?
This is 2012. This is Natalie Noone and the Maybes, and the name of the song is called Go Slowly.
Go slowly. Here she is.
Meet me on Friday, see me again 2 weeks later and talk for an hour, and then you decide you're in love. Think you've got me figured out. You want me to love you, you turn on the charm, but I can't give you my damaged heart. Everyone knows as far as lonely goes, I'm the best around. I've already warned your hopeless romantic heart. It's in for quite a surprise.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, never got to the chorus. She's good, isn't she?
Oh, I'll get you to the chorus. I'll get you. And by the way, I was debating whether to come in and congratulate
Right,
her.
here's the hook.
Here's the hook.
Go slowly, don't love me, don't love me. Love is like a clown, makes you laugh until you cry, and then it leaves you down. And go slowly, go slowly.
That's beautiful. She can really sing.
Oh, she's great. I'm so proud of her because she won't do any. You know, she's doing it the hard way. She's an artist, so she wants to just do everything herself. You know, she won't let me help her out.
Wow.
But she's excited every time. She's like me. When she is, I think somebody in Milwaukee played the record last week, and she got all excited, like, "Oh, I know how you feel now, Dad, when you get your first record on the radio." I mean, it's just she's just going slowly, which is weird that you just played the thing. Her
Right.
first record was called "So Far," which is a play on the word. Was like "so far" and "so far."
So far, I'm still standing here waiting to go slowly. Hey,
Yeah, right.
what? She sings absolutely beautiful. What happened to her British accent? It sounds a little more like a Nashville accent.
Well, she went to university in Nashville because she said that her mother is French and her father is English, but she thinks her soul is in country and western.
Wow.
So, you know, and her idols are like the odd ones, Roy Orbison and people like that. So she feels more at home there. She lives there. She went and lived there.
She a songwriter too? Is she writing all those songs?
Yes, she writes everything. That's what makes it that you really go slowly if you want to be the songwriter and the singer.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
Nashville's
There's loads of great songwriters out there.
But that's
you know,
the
like
place
Katy
to do
Perry
it.
and
that's for
those
sure.
She sings as good as better than Miley Cyrus. She just doesn't have a wrecking ball.
Yeah, you know, she doesn't want to do any twerking either. I don't think
You've done a good job.
You know what, Mr. Noone, you've got a lovely daughter.
You really
Yes,
do.
Really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm so proud of it. Every time I got a buzz when you played her record on the radio because it's so exciting, that stuff, you know. I mean, she's worked hard. She works hard. She gets in a van and drives around, and I go, you know, that's how it all worked. When I was a kid, you got in the van, and in my case, I would get in the van, and I was 15 or 16, and I was the only sober person in the van.
You were hopefully the designated driver. Yeah.
Yeah, always the designated driver. And now, you know, she drives to Houston, which is like 500 miles, and
play.
does a concert and she drives, and she's the manager of the whole operation. And I said, but the police did that, and you know, we used to go in our van, and we'd stop in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. in the morning, and in the same transport cafe or truck stop, you'd call it, would be like the Beatles and the Stones and Jack Bruce he was in another band. He was before he was in, and Ginger Baker would be sitting at the table acting badly, and we would all gang up because all the truck drivers wanted to beat us up, you know. Okay, are you a boy or a girl? You know.
Oh, no kidding. You got the bowl haircut taunting from guys who thought you were feminine for that?
No, they just wanted to beat us up, and they were looking for any excuse they could get, you know, because we were all skinny and horrible and long-haired and dressed like, oh, it's silly.
And you got the girls,
that's
and they were
right.
jealous of that.
I mean, I don't know why they did it, but it's a common thing, isn't it? When somebody walks in who looks different, people,
That's right.
like, if there's enough of them, they want to beat you up.
Peter Noone, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
A big rock star is on our line who loves you and knows you and wanted to say hello. And he lives here in Seattle. Alan White.
Could it be?
Hi, Alan.
Oh, my God, my hero. Hey, Alan.
How are you, Pete?
Great. Alan played on Imagine. I always ask him, what was it like? What was it like? What was that like?
I know you do, yeah. Hey, you know what? It's great waking up in the morning and hear those dulcet Mancunian tones come out of your voice, you know?
I know. You don't have an accent, though, do you, Alan? That's what's
Well,
good
they call mine Mid-Atlantic, which I don't know, it's somewhere around, you know, Iceland.
Yeah, your accent is halfway between the land masses.
Stolichnaya is the...
Yeah,
Stolichnaya.
but it's great to hear you, and I'm going to come and see you when you're playing up here.
Oh, good. You're going to come up and do a song. We'll work one out. One of those that you did with Lennon. What
Yeah.
would you
Well,
like to
they
play?
asked me if you wanted to play, and so this is Christmas, because that whole thing was part of my repertoire as well.
Great. Okay, we'll do it.
So wait a minute.
Yeah,
Alan White,
Alan
nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, by the way, which we're going to get to the voting in a second.
Mazel tov.
And Peter Noone will join each other on stage at ShoWare Center this Thursday night. And we need to raise the ticket prices.
No,
you know,
let the people have
Alan and I
Let the
are-
people have a good show. All right. Well, that's fantastic. Can you do that, Peter?
Well, we'll learn it. We've got until Thursday. I'll work hard. He already knows it because he was there for the beginning.
That's
He
right.
created his part, remember?
Oh, he remembers all those yes parts. I don't know how anybody can remember all that intricate stuff.
It's a piece of cake for you, Peter. You'll do it, no problem.
I went to see Alan with Yes in somewhere like Milwaukee, and they did 2 albums from beginning to end.
Three.
And he remembered them all.
Quite
You
amazing.
missed
Yeah.
one. Remember?
3. He left
It was
early.
3 albums.
Oh, he got there late.
Peter, you shouldn't have left early. So, all right, Peter.
You know,
that was great because I go on stage to do a sound check, and they said, Pete Noone was on stage looking for you. And I went, where'd he go? He said, oh, well, he's playing in another part of it was a state fair thing. And I said, well, I hope he told him to come back after the show. And he came back after the show. We hung around for a while. But every time Peter's in town, I love to go to see him. He's a great bloke, and we have a lot of fun.
Now, Peter, you were talking about meeting your wife and going to see Jimi Hendrix back in London, and Alan's told me he was at those shows too. Do you guys go back that far? Did you know each other back in London?
Well, I think we knew people indirectly because I might have actually played on one of your bloody records thinking about it because Mickey Mouse was a big friend of mine, and I did a lot of sessions for him doing just percussion and all kinds of stuff. So I might have been on one of your records.
I think you played on Museum, which was a Donovan song. It was, we should explain, Alan, that it was a very small scene in England. Everybody kind of knew each other, even though you weren't necessarily friends. But the music business was very small, so the Beatles knew this. Everybody knew each other, and Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker were in other bands, and they eventually met each other. All bands kind of got to play with each other at some point. Like I was showing my daughter a program from a concert at the NME Pole concert at Wembley, and it's like the Animals, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Herman's Hermits, the Spencer Davis Group, the Kinks, the Who, and it just went on, and that was one show.
And it's the same. And by the way,
it was quite amazing in those days. I mean, I was trying to remember the name of the cafe where we all used to stop on the M1 motorway. It was just about an hour outside of London, but everybody stopped there and they had a full plate of grease at about 3 in the morning, just because they were hungry.
Blue Boar, it was called.
all right.
The Blue Boar.
Peter,
Yeah.
Peter and Alan will both be on the stage. This is big breaking news. Peter Noone, Herman's Hermits, I'm Into Something Good, Mrs. Brown, Lovely Daughter, Henry VIII. Oh, Can't You Hear My Heart Beat? I'm looking at all these hits. There's a Kind of Hush.
That's my favorite.
The End of the World, Don't They Know? It's the end. It's great stuff. And you know what? And you do some other great British Invasion songs too. Plus the best Beatles tribute in the world, 1964, the tribute. It's the British Invasion in Kent. It's Kent, and Kent isn't that kind of a
Sweet
British
irony.
sounding?
That's where they got it, actually.
And one of the great gods of Newcastle will come down by chariot, the great Alan White. Alan, I want to mention the public voting for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ends today. Is that right?
I know my wife got up and voted at about 7 o'clock this morning. She says it's still open. I said, well, you can try.
You know what this has in common with being in Chicago and being dead? You can still vote, and you can vote a lot.
And it may not count for anything.
It may not count for anything, but you should do that. We'll put a link up at bobrivers.com. All right, the big show, the British Invasion show, the tribute, 1964, Peter Noone, Herman's Hermits, December 12th, Thursday night, ShoWare Center. Get your tickets now. Lots of great charities are benefited, including World Vision. And we're going to thank both of you guys right now for being with us. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Peter. Peter, before we go, what's your favorite Herman's Hermits song to play?
On stage. Well,
yeah. Do you have one?
I enjoy Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, and I enjoy Henry VIII because we do a little bit of Sex Pistols and a bit of Ramones, but we ultimately get to it. Sometimes it's 12 minutes long. I enjoy Henry VIII.
I remember I've seen you and the show. You're just great on stage. All right, we're going to play some of that when we come back. Guys, thank you very much. Alan, what a great surprise.
All right,
See you
thanks.
there, Alan. I'll start working, practicing.
See you all Thursday night. All right, rock and roll. 9:31 coming up. Santa may live at the North Pole, but apparently he doesn't own it. Do you know there's a nation